Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Kings. My name is Jason, and I'd like to give a quick shout out to all of our new subscribers. Thanks for following this journey and growing the Hex community together. Now, today we'll be analyzing where Hex gets its value from and where the future value will be headed. So let's dive in. At its core, cryptocurrencies need the adoption of new investors to grow. When evaluating what are these key metrics in adoption in cryptos, we look at one of two things: speculation and store of value. When speculating, the only attribute people care about is the price going up. If they foresee that, they are much more likely to adopt. When looking at store of value, the only attribute people care about is the price going up. Makes sense. So the common underlying factor for adoption is the price going up. So what makes the price go up? Well, when people buy more than they sell. It's as simple as that. And that is the only way. Okay, then why not create and invest in a coin that puts its primary focus on buying more than they sell? Well, Richard Hart did just that. He created Hex, which is the first certificate of deposit in cryptocurrencies. He designed specifically to address those two things by monetizing the only thing that actually matters: people buy and not selling. Now, in the real world, CDs from banks already monetize the time value of money. Now, Hex has become the first CD in the cryptosphere to do exactly the same. Hex is decentralized and essentially allows anyone who chooses to stake their Hex become the bank. When you stake, you lock your Hex up for a set amount of time between 1 and 5,555 days, which is roughly 15 years, which addresses the foundational support of people buying more than they sell. They are the ones receiving the interest and inflation in the market. Now in the real world, the bank receives all the interest and inflation. Using the money collected to fulfill their Federal Reserve rate, they lend out 10 times your staked amount, then receive interest and payments on the new loans given, then rewards those who staked with the bank with roughly 2% interest on their investments and keeps all the profits for themselves. Now, when you become the bank, by staking your Hex, you receive 20% yearly interest that then tapers off from there up to roughly 10 years, depending on how long you stake. Now you might be asking, okay, well why would I want to stake longer than 10 years if I stop receiving interest after? Well, in 10 years, the share price per stake will be much higher, so it incentivizes people to maintain their current low share rates for as long as possible, versus having to restake much higher 10 years later. This incentivizes the concept of locking up your money so you cannot sell based on your own terms, and monetizes the time value of money. Now for example, Bitcoin stores value. The numbers go up, people are happy. Ethereum stores value. The numbers go up, and people are happy. Hex stores value. Much more securely than Bitcoin, Hex launched as a finished project. Hex has gone through rigorous audits prior to its launch to ensure there are no bugs, issues, or rollbacks that would happen within its infrastructure. Now, Hex has gone through an audit on its software, which Bitcoin did not do, an economics audit, and has an isolated consensus code so it cannot accidentally get messed up in a network upgrade. Why is that important, you might wonder? Well, let's take a look at what has happened to Bitcoin over its 12-year journey. Bitcoin has twice messed up the underlying code when doing network upgrades that exposes risk to its users. There have been 2 separate inflation bugs in their system, where people can mint as much Bitcoin as they'd like. Bitcoin has had to roll back the chain once before as well. There's flaws in Bitcoin security and code. So ultimately, Hex is more secure than Bitcoin. So if storing value securely, addressing the time value of money, reducing pollution by rewarding stakers instead of miners are good things, combined with Hex having a larger liquidity pool than Bitcoin, excluding wrapped Bitcoin as there is a larger pool, but puts you at a counterparty risk having to unwrap it, then the answer is clear. Hex is the ultimate winner in the cryptosphere. Now, let's take a look at some of the current stats of Hex, how it has built its value, and where we can see it going in the future. First, let's recap on Hex's historic prices to see what that story tells. Right off the bat here, you'll see substantial movement over the last few months as the price has gone from near 1 penny in April to up to 51 cents by mid-September. So let's zoom in here on that April time frame, see what was going on. Looking at the last low near the end of April, we were right about 1.5 cents. Then, in a mere 3 weeks, Hex hit all-time highs at a newly profound 6.8 cents, right about 7. So big swings up require a healthy correction and consolidation in price at the higher levels to show how strong that value holds. Roughly 5 weeks after the new all-time high, the price corrected by nearly 53%, down to about 3.2 pennies. What happened after that new low? Started rallying again. Hit the same line of support, dropped down, consolidated some more here, moving sideways is good. Consolidated the price before the next bull rally up to all new highs. This trend of rallies, pullbacks, then consolidation at higher values than before are great key indicators of a healthy, growing market. There have been multiple heavy price corrections over 50%. However, Hex in the long run has continuously beat these cycles and continued to grow with adoption. So let's switch gears and hop over to Hex.Vision. We'll drop the link in the description. And here, we're going to review some in-depth analytics on what is actually going on with Hex's adoption numbers and stakers. So, right off the bat, we see an awesome chart showing the number of new stakes open. These bars are in 12-hour increments, spread over the last 30 days. Throughout this chart, we see that the average number of new stakes opening ranges from roughly 1,000 to 2,500 stakes each and every day. Now, over the 30-day period, I was very curious myself, so I took the time to add up the stakes from each bar. Now, in the last month alone, there have been 51,279 new stakes. Although it doesn't give us an exact average of how much is staked on each, we can scroll down to do a rough estimate on how much Hex was staked at the beginning of September through today, September 29th. Looking at these numbers here, on August 31st, there were 62.15 billion Hex staked. And now, there is currently 62,853 million Hex staked. A difference of roughly 700 million Hex. So, throughout the month of September, the Hex price has ranged roughly from 25 cents to 51 cents, while spending majority of its time between the 35 cent and 48 cent range. We'll call in an average of 42 cents through 700 million Hex, giving us a US dollar amount of $294 million staked over the last 30 days. That is right. There is very strong support for Hex as adoption is growing and a substantial amount of money is being locked away out of circulation, which ultimately drives the theory the price goes up when people buy more than they sell. Hex.Vision also shows unique stake addresses of all time, and that there have been 79,000 people that chose to become the banks and stake their Hex. Here we also have a live number of 365,000 addresses currently holding Hex in their wallets. Now, how much of that is locked up in stakes? Just under 10% of that total number have chose to stake their Hex and become the bank. So with all that new information, data, and numbers I've provided, it is safe to say that Hex has a long ways to go. We are still in early adoption phases now. Although the growth has been tremendous, the continuous onboarding of new people staking their money as well points to a very bright future for Hex, with prices continuously rising throughout the years. Thank you everyone for joining me. I hope I was able to shed some clear light on how Hex has established to continuously holding its value. Now don't forget to subscribe and turn those notifications on. If this info was useful to you, please share it, hit that like button, and leave a comment on how I did. Thank you everyone, and be on the lookout for the next video so you too can become a king of cryptos.